This is Claire Slaymaker. I was the president of the auxiliary in 1997. Oh, it was so much fun. I'd been on the board for a few years before. And actually before that, my first year in the club, I wanted to start to meet people. So I thought I would go to one of the auxiliary meetings. And so I showed up, and I had no idea that I wasn't really supposed to be at the meeting, that it was just the auxiliary. But Nancy Wells was the president that year, and she was so sweet. She said, "Oh, come in and just sit down with us while we're doing our meeting." Next thing I knew, I had a call. "Did you want to get on the board?" So right after that, I started the board, and then met so many wonderful people of all ages on the board with me throughout the years I was on it. But the year of 1997 was so much fun because I really got a good group that was working with me, and we all enjoyed starting new events. I think that was the first year that we started money for the new ladies' bathroom. And it was the first year that we had the Halloween haunted house in the Commodore's room. And so many of the people, the families that were involved and the parents had more fun, I think, than the kids doing the haunted house. And they kept coming back every year to continue working on the haunted house. So it was really a lot of fun. Well, it was like a family, you know. It started out back then getting to know people on the board and then in the club, and the camaraderie was so wonderful. And then I guess then it started every Friday night. Seemed to be like going to your living room and having your best friends, but doing it at the club. So that just has continued throughout the years for my husband and myself. When I was president of the auxiliary in 1997, I think that the auxiliary was pretty much a separate community from being the Commodore. And I think as the years have progressed, that the two have become more connected. And I think that back then there was not as much interest in what the auxiliary was doing as possibly it is brought to the front now. Also, the club was really in need of refurbishing, and we really worked hard back then to advance the decor of the club and do over the bathrooms, which were needed. And I think finally in 2004, they were able to, with the help of John Swain, architect, to do over the bar, the dining room, and the bathrooms, which made a really great change in the club. Gosh, there's so many wonderful memories, but I guess the most fun would have been being able to start and do some of the new events at the club. At that time, everyone on the auxiliary still was involved in all of the different parties. And being a president of the auxiliary, of course, you made all the parties. And I think we had such a great year that year with the Easter party. And it didn't rain, which was really nice because you never know, because back then, if we couldn't do it outside, it had to be in the old Cove House, which was really small. And having children of all ages in that little space was really difficult. One of the things I'm really proud of is that I got some of my friends to join the club and to also participate in being on the auxiliary and becoming a president of the auxiliary. I think it was rewarding for them also as it was for me. Well, you know, like, once again, I have to say it's like family. Friday nights, we have so many friends that are connected, and if there's issues with families, we all try to help out in any way we can. And so it's just been an exciting step to get to know people's children and then their grandchildren and watch everyone grow. for years, I did the fashion show. In the beginning, one time we even had it at the St. Francis. I'm not sure why that happened, but it was a lot of fun. And once again, getting new members involved in the fashion show was so much fun. I have not raced in the Auxiliary Cup. My husband is a great racer, and he used to race all the time. But I did take classes, sailing classes through the yacht club, but I never have had a chance to race yet. I would say to continue on the trail that they're on right now. I think we need a lot more young people in the community involved in the yacht club, and so I think we need to be sure we open it up to members that aren't just sailors. I think we need to have just a lot of young community people in the club also. Well, I think we've had so many wonderful presidents along the way. I would just say enjoy and embrace the club in every way you can, and get to know members of all ages, because it's really exciting to have that as your community. As you're growing up, you tend to have friends your age, and it brought out the importance to me of having people that are friends of all ages, because you end up helping each other and learn so much from each other. We moved here, but immediately moved to Hong Kong, so there wasn't a lot of sailing going on there. So as soon as we got back, my husband was always a big sailor, and we really were interested, once we moved to Belvedere, in joining the yacht club, and I took some sailing classes. We got a sailboat, and the rest was history. So I really didn't grow up sailing, because I grew up in Texas on the Gulf of Mexico, and so it was more fishing and water skiing. But my brother was into sailing, and so I did start sailing with him on his J24 at races. And then, of course, there was a big gap between living in Asia and parts of Texas that I didn't get to sail. But I always enjoyed the sailing, and so looked forward to that opportunity when we did join the club. We picked up sailing with some friends that had a 100-foot swan, and we would sail around the world with them. And that's when I really appreciated the depth of sailing and how important it was to your soul, as much as the fact of just sailing, being out in the water, the middle of nowhere, and being able to enjoy just the quiet of the sails, and then also racing, where it's lots of screaming and hollering, but a lot of fun. That's been a wonderful next step for me after first learning to sail. We all live in a world right now where there's so much stress that you don't realize until you can get out in a sailboat in the quiet to realize how important that is for your soul, for your mind, to clear your mind. It's probably the best, cheapest drug there is out there. So the Millennial Party was really a lot of work. I did that with Catherine Ferguson, and we had 2 enormous tents outside, and we had our own fireworks. It was a wonderful event and included everybody in the community, but was like months of work trying to get to that point. And it was done in the Venetian theme, so everybody had their masks, and we had this fabulous painting at the front entry of Venice and the Grand Canal. And so it turned out really fun, but a lot of work.